For many years, gardeners have heard about cover crops. We are told they are essential for healthy soil over winter. Farmers use them on large fields, and their results are often good. This has made many home gardeners believe they must also sow cover crops in the autumn. However, what works for a large farm does not always work for a small vegetable patch or a few raised beds. The scale is different, and the goals are different too. In a home garden, we want our soil to be ready for planting as early as possible in the spring. We do not have the time or space for complicated methods. The idea behind cover crops is simple. You sow seeds like winter rye, vetch, or clover in the autumn. These plants grow and cover the soil, protecting it from winter rain and wind. Their roots are meant to hold the soil together and add organic matter when they die. In theory, this sounds wonderful. It seems like a natural way to feed the soil and keep it healthy. Many gardening books and websites promote this method without question. They show pictures of lush green fields, promising the same results for your small plot at home, but often the reality is quite different. The truth is, cover crops can be a lot of work for very little reward in a small garden. They need time to grow, and in colder climates, the growing season is short. If you sow them too late, they may not establish well before the first hard frost arrives. This leaves your soil bare and unprotected, which is the very problem you are trying to solve. Furthermore, you must deal with the cover crop in the spring. This often involves cutting it down and then waiting for it to decompose before you can plant your vegetables. This can delay your spring planting, which is a significant issue for an eager gardener. It is time we challenged this advice for the home gardener. We need a simpler, more effective way to care for our soil in the autumn. A method that enriches the soil deeply and ensures it is ready for planting the moment spring arrives. Instead of growing a temporary crop, we can feed the soil directly with the materials it truly needs. This approach is faster, easier, and gives you more control over your garden's health. It is a no-dig solution that works with nature to build incredible fertility without the hassle of growing and then removing another set of plants from your precious garden space. One of the main problems with cover crops in a small space is their inconsistency. Their success depends heavily on timing and weather, two things we cannot fully control. If you sow the seeds and then have a long dry spell, they may not germinate at all. On the other hand, if you have a very wet autumn, the young seedlings might rot before they have a chance to grow strong. For a farmer with hundreds of acres, a patchy area is not a disaster. For a home gardener with only a few square meters, a failed cover crop means your entire bed is left exposed and unprepared for winter. This inconsistency makes it a risky choice for small-scale growing. Another issue is the management required in the spring. After the winter, you are left with a dense mat of green growth. You cannot simply plant your vegetables into it. First, you must terminate the cover crop. This usually means cutting it down. Some cover crops, like winter rye, are very tough and can be difficult to cut with simple hand tools. After cutting it, you must decide what to do with the plant matter. Leaving it on the surface can be effective, but it can also create a habitat for slugs and other pests. It also takes time to break down, which can delay your planting schedule by several weeks. Furthermore, some cover crops can become weeds themselves. If you let them set seed, you might find them popping up all over your garden for years to come. This creates more work, as you will constantly be weeding them out from amongst your vegetables. For example, clover is a wonderful plant, but it can spread aggressively if not managed carefully. The goal of autumn soil care is to reduce your workload, not create new chores for the following season. A method that introduces new weeds is not a good solution for a low-maintenance, no-dig garden where we want to keep weeding to a minimum. Finally, the benefits of cover crops are often slow to appear in a home garden. The amount of organic matter added by a single season of cover crops in a small bed is minimal. You can achieve far more significant soil improvement by adding compost directly. The roots of cover crops are said to break up compacted soil. But in a no-dig garden, your soil should not be compacted in the first place. By avoiding walking on the beds and adding organic matter to the surface, you are already creating a perfect soil structure. Cover crops, therefore, are often a solution to a problem that no-dig gardeners simply do not have. There is a much more direct and effective shortcut to prepare your soil for winter. I call it the soil recharge method. It involves layering different organic materials directly onto the surface of your beds. This method feeds the soil food web immediately and consistently throughout the winter months. You are not waiting for plants to grow. You are giving the soil exactly what it needs, right now. This simple, no-dig technique builds fertility much faster than cover cropping and ensures your beds are ready for planting at the first sign of spring. There is no waiting and no difficult spring cleanup. Here is the step-by-step process. First, clear your beds of any old vegetable plants and weeds. Do not dig the soil, just clear the surface. Then apply a layer of good compost, about 2 to 5 centimeters deep. The compost is the foundation. It is full of stable organic matter and a diverse range of microorganisms that will begin working on your soil straight away. This single layer provides more concentrated nutrients and soil-building power than a thin cover crop could provide over an entire winter. It is the most important food for your soil life. Next, add a thin layer of green materials for a nitrogen boost. This could be fresh grass clippings, comfrey leaves, or even spent coffee grounds. This nitrogen-rich layer provides a quick-release food source for the bacteria and fungi in the soil and compost. It acts like a starter fuel, getting the decomposition process going quickly. After this, you can sprinkle on a light dusting of a mineral mix, such as rock dust or seaweed meal. This step replenishes trace elements that your vegetables use during the growing season, ensuring a balanced diet for your future plants. You can also add a fungal inoculant at this stage to boost the mycorrhizal fungi network. Finally, cover everything with a protective layer of mulch. This top layer should be made of brown materials like straw, shredded leaves, or cardboard. This mulch acts as a blanket, protecting the soil from heavy winter rains and temperature swings. It suppresses weeds, conserves moisture, and provides a slow-release food source for worms and other soil creatures. It also keeps the compost and other layers from drying out or blowing away. This layered system creates a perfect environment for soil life to thrive all winter long, turning your bed into a rich, fertile, and ready-to-plant space for the spring. Once you have applied your autumn layers, the hard work is done. Your main task over the winter is simply to let nature take its course. The worms, bacteria, and fungi will be busy breaking down the organic matter, pulling it down into the soil. This process aerates the soil naturally and builds a beautiful, dark, crumbly structure without any digging. You can occasionally check the moisture level under the mulch, especially during a dry winter. If the compost layer seems dry, you can give it a light watering. This helps keep the soil life active and working for you. You can also continue to feed your soil throughout the winter. If you have a wormery, you can add small pockets of kitchen scraps under the mulch layer. The worms in your soil will find this extra food and continue their work. This is a great way to recycle kitchen waste while further enriching your garden beds. Think of the mulch layer as the roof of a house for your soil organisms. They are living and working underneath it, protected from the harsh weather. Your job is simply to ensure they have a comfortable home and enough food to keep them going until spring. When spring arrives, the benefits of this method will be clear. Instead of facing a tangled mess of cover crops, you will find your beds are almost ready to plant. Simply pull back the top mulch layer in the exact spots where you want to sow seeds or plant seedlings. The compost underneath will have integrated with the soil, creating a dark, rich, and friable medium. The soil will be moist, full of life, and perfectly structured for young roots to explore. There is no digging, no tilling, and no waiting for green manures to break down. You can start planting weeks earlier than with cover crops. I encourage you to try this soil recharge shortcut on at least one of your beds this autumn. Leave another bed with a cover crop or even bare, and compare the results next spring. Look at the soil structure, the number of worms, and how quickly your new plants grow. I am confident you will see the difference. This no-dig, layered approach is simpler, saves you work, and builds healthier soil more effectively in a small garden. It puts you in control of your garden's fertility and sets you up for your most successful growing season yet.